This is the continual evolution of the East Coast beat. Fly on. The earth circles the sun, the moon follows suit, and we all spin through this vast universe. Why not take time to be, to twirl, to spin through the night? In the morning's work will be done, but in the pale blue moonlight, that's the dance, the hard and heavy breaths that are cooled by a cool night breeze. How far, they say, to the nearest star? They speak in light years, they speak in impossibilities, but they speak with confidence. With who will I walk into the gentle valley? Who will sit beside me, beside the sea? In my life, so many have come to me, brave and bold. What have I ever done or said that has brought such a thing? I feel the slight hesitation of Solomon. You know, uh, when I was a kid, I think I was listening to Jimi Hendrix on the radio, listening to the classic radio station. And Jimi Hendrix comes on, and the kid sitting next to me says, "Oh, Jimi Hendrix used to say he used to see in colors." And I thought, oh, that was the first time I ever heard that. I had ever heard anything about that. And then I come to find out that that's an actual thing. So, yeah, Jimi Hendrix saw his music in colors. What other things that I can't do or can't see or can't be that are real, you know? So, we live in this world, and like I said, is it within man to be base? You know what I'm saying? To do what has to be done. Yes, it is within man to do what has to be done. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't do what has to be done, you get rolled over. You know what I'm saying? So, is it in man to get things done? Is it in man to, even hurt himself this time, and he knows that he's going to pay for it when he's 50, 60 years old? But will he hurt himself today to get something done today? You know what I'm saying? And I was one of those kids, you know what I'm saying? If it had to get done, it got done. And that's what got me through the younger part of my years. That's what helped. Like I said, if anybody has a kid or something and they think their kid wants to join the military and he's still young enough, when he's, build him up a little bit, and then, find out what sport he's interested in. Because the thing is, it's not so much that he plays a sport, although that does look good, you know what I'm saying? But the fact that he plays on a team with a coach is what looked good to the army, and that's what will help him in the army. Like I said, I could have trained on my own. I mean, when I was a certain age, I did most of my training on my own. I didn't do junior ROTC or anything like that. But one of the ways I got ready for the army was my senior year in high school. I asked my aunt and uncle, if I could play sports after high school. You know what I'm saying? And they actually, my uncle, when I made the football team, he actually bought me, or he traded a truck for a truck. I ended up with this 1978 Chevy, three shades of white, two shades of rust. You know what I'm saying? But it had a 350 four barrel, and it was pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? And So as soon as I make the football team, he gives me a truck so that I don't have to ride the bus, you know what I'm saying, with my gear and stuff like that. So he buys me a truck, he buys me a pair of Nikes, he buys me this, because hey, I made the team, He said before you made the team, I didn't he let me I tried out for the team in his old softball shoes that I had to duct tape to my feet, you know what I'm saying? And after I made the team, he took me downtown and we didn't go to we went straight to there were two sporting goods stores on Main Street and we went to one of them and we went up to the counter and he told the guy, "My nephew just made the football team. He needs a good, athletic shoe so he can do his running and stuff like that." And the guy took him to a counter and he said, "I recommend this." And it was a pair of white Nike gels. They had the neon green gels in them and he said, "I recommend this." And they were uh expensive, for me, you know what I'm saying? What like minimum wage was like three, maybe three something an hour, and they were like $80. So what is that? 30, almost 20 hours. That's 20 hours of over 20 hours of work for a pair of shoes so that I can go run around in the backyard, which was a 10-acre field, and do my road work getting ready for football. So, like I said, but I joined the football team not so much because I wanted to play football. I did want to play football, but not so much because I wanted to play football, but I knew I was going to join the army and I wanted to join a team so that I would know what it was like to not be able to quit. If the coach said, "Give me 20 push-ups," okay, I can 20 push-ups. Give me 20 push-ups. Give me 20 push-ups. If he kept telling me, give me 50 push-ups, I would have to give him 50. If he says run a mile, I have to run a mile. If he says run 2 miles, I have to run 2 miles. If he says do them in under so many minutes, I have to do them in under so many minutes. You know? So, like I said, I had very little prior. I mean, like I said, I was training. I always knew I wanted to join the army. So I was kind of doing training like that, but I wasn't actually doing push ups, sit ups, 2 mile runs. You know what I'm saying? And So when I joined football, I had actually lost about 20 pounds um, moving from California to Colorado. And I made the team. And like I said, if he blew the whistle, you had to go, you had to drop. You had to be able to drop and you had to be able to be strong enough to connect yourself, but still hit the ground. You know what I'm saying? And we had to be able to do sit-ups until every time he blew the whistle you had to do a sit-up. Every time he blew the whistle you had to do a push-up. If he called them out you had to do them. There was no not doing it, or you wouldn't make the team. So like I said, I did that so I could get ready for that. And then when I was at the football banquet after the end of the year, and we got our little whoever got an award, or and then they thank the coaches would thank the parents for letting them let their kids play and telling them how much it would develop them, and they hope they notice that their sons have become better men. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of the guys at my table were like, "Hey, next thing up is wrestling," and so that was the last full meal I ate because I knew I was going to wrestle, and I had no interest. I mean, I liked, to be honest, I met a guy in high school on the speech team, and he was on the wrestling team, and he was so cocky and had so much bravado. But I admit, I mean, if I was him, why not? You know what I'm saying? I mean, 155, when I weighed 155 in the army, I had sway. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so for this kid, to be in high school, he's on the high school speech and debate team, and he's a wrestler at the same time. I ended up doing the same thing my senior year. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I had did I have ego? Well, probably not, because anybody that didn't like it felt it before I walked in the door and stepped out. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I mean, when I met that kid, I thought, damn, now this is like, because most of the kids on the speech and debate team were intelligent. We had this one kid named Tom, and he was, fit. You know what I'm saying? He was like German kid fit. Like he could ride a bike 100 miles. He could climb a mountain. He was that kind of fit. But when I met this kid and the way he dressed and the way he wore his glasses, and I thought, all right, you know what? If someone can use speech and debate to get into like money making, I can see how he could use this as experience. Like, okay, like when I was in speech and debate, there was this one girl I used to compete against, and I beat her several times, and she actually ended up getting a university scholarship. Um, and I remember thinking, oh, so I'm actually better than some other people. Yeah, what can I say? You know? I didn't even have to compete at that point. I already knew at what level I was. You know what I'm saying? Hey, so the continual evolution of the East Coast beat, like I said, um, as you get older, or as I get older, as you get older, you begin to realize um, I'm not going to be able to hike up to the top of fucking Machu Picchu, or I'm not going to be able to go play tag with a bunch of fucking dire wolves, or I'm not going to be able to swim with the dolphins. It's like shit. I'm fucking grateful that I can make it to the bottom of my stairs. It's fucking dangerous for me nowadays. You know what I'm saying? Like I fucking I could slip, fall, break my hip. I only got one friend, you know what I'm saying? It's like, and she's probably gonna think I just got tired of talking to her and talked to some other girl, so she's gonna be all flipping on me. No, 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 call 911. Like I'm in the fucking, I slipped in the bathtub. Bring the chicken soup. It's like, come on, man. I mean, there was a certain point in my life where, I mean, what can I say? It was you step into the river, and when you step into the river, you realize so much about it. But there's something, um, but there's some things that are more intense about the river than others. Is it a fast river? Is it a slow river? Is it warm? Is it cold? Is it deep? Is the bottom? Can I walk on the bottom without hurting my feet? Are there fish in this bitch? Is there crocodiles in this river? You know what I'm saying? So many things about rivers that change. But every time you step into the river, you get into the rhythm. And the older I get, the more I realize that I can stay in the same, not the exact, but I can stay in a similar rhythm for longer. I don't need to always watch the new movie. I don't need to always listen to the new album. I don't need to always go to the new restaurant. And that may seem boring to someone that's young, but hey, at the same time, I've been halfway around the world half a dozen times, and most of it was due to the military. And so I know what it's like to work hard for a dollar and to get, we were treated well. You know what I'm saying? There were Germans that absolutely loved us, because they realized if it wasn't for these guys right now, we'd be a communist ruled country. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, when I was in Germany, it was pretty beautiful. I mean, I can honestly say, most of the problems that you see in most major cities just didn't exist because they had developed the infrastructure. They had thought about that in advance. They had kept their buildings high instead of building out, so when they needed to build something, they always had space. Germany has a lot of space. It has a lot of beautiful buildings and bridges and all that other good stuff and cathedrals. But one thing Germany still has is space. So if they need to build a nuclear power plant, they can build the nuclear power. If they need to build a solar, they can put solar panel. If that was their intent. You know what I'm saying? So they've kept their people kind of building up in old communities, you know what I'm saying? Whereas like in the West, we spread out and then we all need cars just to visit our families. Or we all need cars just to go to our part-time job, you know what I'm saying? And so you know, like my worker has two cars, one to get her to work, and then when she gets to work, they realize she needs a car so much that the county or her company has to give her a car to compensate her for how much driving she has to do because people like me who have no cars. I can't drive to the office today. You have to come to me. Or I'll come to the office, but it'll take me an hour and a half and it's 104 degrees. I mean, I'm not saying my dad won't sue, you know what I'm saying? Finally get that retirement home in Fiji and shit, you know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? So, like I said, that's the continual evolution of the East Coast beat. Like I said, um, what was what was the lesson? What was the lessons of today? Um, the lessons of today were in the morning. The morning's work will be done. But if at night you find yourself, you know, and the moon is shining and there's a cool breeze, you know, take time to think and laugh and dance and, you know, twirl in the moonlight because maybe if there is a God, maybe he's looking at you right now, you know what I'm saying? So that's maybe the lessons that I thought along the way, you know, as I made my way across the land, you know, whether by train, bus, or Volkswagen, you know, sitting in the back seat of somebody else's car as I've traveled the world. You know, it's like uh, there are times when it looks at you. You look at it, it looks at you. You can leave you can leave what you want behind and you can take with you what you will and it'll do the same to you. You know what I'm saying? So, how far to the nearest star? I don't know. I mean, like I say, they say in the hundreds of millions of light years, which to me means, I mean, that's some, like I said, the word I use is impossibilities. It's an impossibility. So why not concern yourself with yourself, with what's in 20 feet of you, with what's in hearing range of you, what's within walking distance of you, what's within voice call of you, you know, and like I said, you know, in my time, uh, I felt that, you know, people have shown me a certain amount of dignity and honor. And I felt the hesitation of King Solomon. I understand. You know what I'm saying? So, the continual evolution of the East Coast beat. Nights come and go. The winter's coming to an end. You know, soon we'll be sweating in the sun, watching butterflies go by, waiting for a breeze, sipping on iced tea, thinking about our yesterdays while we, you know, kind of silently cling to our tomorrows, you know, wishing that one day we could just stop and enjoy the day as a dream instead of wait until night to be so amazed by everyday things. The continual evolution of the East Coast beat, we will not be denied.